in. Salutations, viewers. We're the Landstars, and hey, welcome back to some more stories.
Let's see if we can get some more of this done.
Yes. Since we only have 3 more endings left before we can go for the true ending.
Yep. So, I feel like we almost had it right with the last one.
True.
So let's go rescue the damn rabbit again.
Oh, baby!
Because nothing ever goes wrong when we rescue the rabbit.
I know, right?
Maybe Renato could use that somehow.
Again, we'll get to you when we get to you. But for now...
Lapino had apparently managed to confuse the... But
So we've heard.
I'm obnoxious and dislike, you know that, sir. Yes, I know. 1776. I am fond of that show. So someone in the audience is going, Hamilton's better. He wrote Hamilton because he was a fan of 1776. In fact, the reason you never see John Adams show up in Hamilton is because Lin-Manuel Miranda was like, no matter who I get to play the part of Adams, everyone will want to see William Daniels in that role.
secret rituals. Renato hoped the people were just hiding.
Let's see, what do we want to upgrade first? Sure. I'm curious what that last one is right there.
Also, it's funny because, like, so many people saw Hamilton because it's a great show. And they're like, oh, he was such a forward-thinking and awesome individual. In some ways, he was kind of a jerk. Like, he was one of the ones who kind of wanted the chief executive of the U.S. to be like a monarch, and he was definitely a war hawk in a lot of ways.
The end of the cemetery. Renato
And,
badly to confront him for his treachery. But what good would that do him?
He had his own unethical business practices, including related to slavery. Of course, Aaron Burr was worse in some ways, although Burr was even more forward-thinking than Hamilton was in some ways. But then again, all of the founding fathers had their issues.
Yeah.
Whenever someone's like, there was a comedy bit on this I saw, I can't remember the name of that comedian, but he's talking about how, like, there are people who are, like, the only people I listen to are, God bless the founding fathers, and it's like, they've been dead for more than 200 years. They definitely lived in different times and had, like, yeah. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe thinking this.
It's one of those things where it's like, history is not always as nice as they will teach you in schools, but it's part of how we got to be where we are today.
Oh, yeah. Hell, by today's standards, Abraham Lincoln was a horrible racist.
I know.
Renato
Yeah.
finally reached Lapino. The rabbit was practicing his shuffle. Renato recognized the cup. We capture Zenobia.
Blah, blah, blah. Zenobia, yep. Let's go. Zenobia seems like a good thing to kidnap.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Capture the Emperor's greatest general, who happened to also be a deadly sorcerer, and, oh, his only daughter? That would be worth it. And it would be nice to see her. He'd always had a soft spot for her. And he felt sure she had one for him. On the other hand, he could still get to the core of the Sky Ripper, even if he couldn't get the whole thing. It must have great power.
Well, you know what they say.
Zenobia wasn't just the Emperor.
If you are capable of doing the right thing, you have a moral obligation to do the right thing. That's what's at stake here. Not power, responsibility.
At the mercy of the interrogators. Would he really turn her over to them? But this was war. It wasn't meant to be.
Well, war never changes.
War never changes. Ron Perlman was the narrator for one of those games, wasn't he?
I think so.
Yeah. Good choice, honestly.
Yeah. I know the big thing was, Liam Neeson was your dad in the third game.
I remember that, because that's the main one I've experienced.
Yeah.
That was another one of those games I experienced with Ed while drunk.
He lasted longer than Patrick Stewart in Oblivion, though. He died in the tutorial.
Patrick Stewart was also in Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
Yep. 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. He was not in Mirror of Fate.
No. But Robert Carlyle was back as Dracula.
Yep. He's damn good as Dracula, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I got Mirror of Fate for the 3DS, and the game has issues. But, I remember after I played it, I wrote a long thing on Facebook about it. Because in those days, people were still on Facebook. But, I wrote this long thing on Facebook about it, and, one of the things I said was, keep in mind, one of my bigger complaints was, I wish there was more of this game. If that is one of my big complaints, you did at least something right. There may have been other issues with the game, sure, but, the fact that, at the end of the day, I was like, man, I wish there was more of this to play.
So,
You did something right.
what's this plan of yours? Use me as bait, said Lapino. And he outlined a slightly complicated plan that involved geese, a net...
Lords of Shadow is one of the reasons that Trevor is possibly my favorite Belmont. Sure, he's great in the shows. Sure, Castlevania 3 is great, but,
What could possibly go wrong? Thought Renato.
screw this plan.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
The fact that,
You know better.
Trevor's story arc is I'm going to chase down Dracula. I've learned Dracula's my father. Spoilers, by the way.
Yep.
I'm fighting Dracula. Oh, I got killed by Dracula. 20 years later, he wakes up. Where am I? Oh shit, I wasn't successful in killing Dracula. Better drag my ass out of bed and try again.
Yep.
Mirror of Fate was also, put together in a very weird order. And I get why they did it. I just feel like another way would have been better.
Yeah.
Ship making no sound at all. Where were her guards?
Because it's you spend part of the story as Simon, and then another as Alucard, and then you eventually get to Trevor.
Yeah. And the Trevor is a flashback, and I feel like having that be the big conclusion it wasn't the best, but...
Yeah.
Renata knew she still had
Okay, so we want the second one for this.
You
Okay.
could just cut to the chase.
Yeah, because we tried the first one, and that went swimmingly.
Yep.
Did you ever wonder why the Emperor...
Did you ever know that you're my hero?
one of his victims? He's not exactly alive.
With the wind beneath my wings.
You took a big risk.
Hey.
I could just cast a spell to make you tell me where the rebel base is. And you wouldn't consider that cheating? She frowned. Ugh, fine. Let's go get your witness.
And it turns out it's this lady with an afro who's very much wanting to be famous.
Renato had rescued a priest whose order had been massacred for one book.
You were in that LP.
Burnt village. Dead
She was hunting for Gordy.
Oh! Right! That LP!
Yes.
Like, I thought you were... Like, when you said Afro, I thought you were going to be referencing, like, Sam and Max for a second. With, Bosco's mom.
Do you want to join in?
I know I've brought this up when, like, talking to Surratt and the Raven. Ending of the Devil's Toy Box actually got me emotional. Which is a weird place to be with a Sam and Max game. It's like, oh my god, like, I'm not crying, but, like, I feel it here, and, like, I'm sad. Sam and Max, what the hell?
Scientists on this island had been
There we go, because somebody's picture was lasting there for a good long while.
They were neutral in the Civil War engulfing the
I feel like in some ways this game was programmed with, like, chewing gum and a prayer. Much like that charging station at Chicago O'Hare. Heyo! Yeah, when I was flying out here, and, like, after I had wandered the entirety of O'Hare to kill time, I was sitting at the table at my gate and charging up various devices, including my phone. And while I was doing that, this was at gate B19. B19? B19. I realized that the table and charging station I was using were literally held together with chewing gum.
Oh boy.
I was like, wow, and like that section of the airport felt really claustrophobic to me in general, as opposed to the rest of the airport, which didn't. Again, I explored basically the entire thing.
Well, he had a 3-hour layover, so...
And to be fair, that's kind of what I do at airports. Like, I explore to see how they feel, see if there's anything interesting, get the vibe of them. But, like, it felt like the rest of the airport was much nicer, and, like, the B and C gates. Oh, those are for peasants.
Oh, at least you had plenty of room on the plane.
Yeah, that's true, because there was... Both of my flights over, there was nobody on the friggin' planes. I had, like, entire rows to myself. Weirdest thing. Only time that's ever happened to me.
Take me to your council, she said.
I don't trust Zenobia yet. She's clearly gonna betray us.
Yeah.
It was what Renato had gambled on. The Zenobia would turn against her father once she knew his madness. But the rebel base was secret. Could he really risk taking the Emperor's daughter
Might
there,
sneeze.
even if she did love
Well,
him?
maybe we'll finally get evidence of you sneezing like a kitten then.
I do not sneeze like a kitten.
Renato reached Lapino by Farspeaker Toad.
No, we should take her to the base.
Insisted Lapino. No, I don't trust her. Nobody changes sides that fast, said Renato.
I better go to the base.
Lapino said. For some reason, Renato wasn't sure that was a good idea.
Yeah, I don't...
Just meet me at the far side of the mountains. There's a shuttle here I can take.
Always has to be your way, doesn't it?
Said Lapino.
Yes.
Zenobia was still shaking as they got out. I didn't know, she said. The Ravens kept it secret. At first they sacrificed prisoners, then villages near the frontier, and then an orphanage. Kittens, and puppies.
The younglings!
Sometimes he'd come back to the palace and it was like there were...
Whenever Star Wars uses the term younglings, like, I just kind of inwardly cringe. I'm like, call them children. Call them
So the Ravens don't see...
Like, Yoda calling them younglings is one thing, but then, like, Padme is like, did the younglings? And Obi-Wan's like, yes, he murdered the younglings. It's like, no, call them children! Call them children! For the love of God! Come along, younglings. They're children. God, why? You didn't... The term sounds stupid and we didn't need a new term for it. Not the younglings! Yes, the younglings. They died.
Like the Bothans.
Whenever my sister does anything or brings anything, she will be like, "Many Bothans died to bring us this." Fill in the blank. Goes to get pizza. Many Bothans died to bring us this pizza.
Well, you better make damn good pizza then.
Yeah. I mean, in her neck of the woods,
Yeah.
Sis, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. But your pizza's there, not great. It's fine.
Massaged his sore arm. Her eyes were wet. He's been saying strange things. He asked me to do experiments. And some were wrong. They are banished, right? Said Renato. Gone forever. I mean, he couldn't actually bring the old gods back.
Everything
could he?
dies, baby, that's a fact.
She didn't
Everything
answer
that
him.
dies maybe can come
That
back.
frightened him more than anything.
So meet me tonight in Atlantic City. There is no band that sounds quite like the E Street Band. There's bands even with similar instrumentation, but just something about the arrangement, the production, and just the right mix. I've never heard anything quite like them. I was actually talking about that with my dad one of the nights before I moved out. I saw Bruce Springsteen live years ago, but it was not with the E Street Band. It was part of the Devils and Dust tour. My dad had gotten my brother tickets for the Richmond show of that tour, not knowing that my brother's girlfriend at the time got him tickets for a different show in Virginia, same tour. So Courage got to do that twice.
Nice.
I think I still have the Devils and Dust t-shirt.
I'm assuming that's in the pod.
Yeah. Like, that was definitely one I didn't feel like I could get rid of yet, anyway.
Yeah.
It was a cool concert. I feel like some of our friends are going like, "Oh yeah, Springsteen, that gets me right in my New Jersey heart." or my New Jersey adjacent heart for some of them. Tramps like us, baby, we were born to run.
Forgot about that song.
Really?
Yeah. Like, you just say this like, oh yeah, that song exists.
Were there other Bruce Springsteen songs that came to your mind first?
I'm not sure if I can remember any off the top of my head.
Okay. Well, like I was about to say, like, if you had another one that you could think of that was like, oh yeah, this is what I think of with Bruce Springsteen, I was dying to know.
Renato wondered if he should have taken Zenobia to the rebel base for real. Maybe she wasn't.
I think,
picking him up.
is Born to Run the state song in New Jersey, or was it like?
He was regretting
I
his
feel like one of Springsteen's songs was adopted as.
They came up on an empty shack. He gestured her in. Where's the base? She asked, confused. I thought we could talk a bit first. Oh, you think I'm playing you? She was furious. I'm betraying my father who picked me out of an alley, and you think I'm playing you? She lashed out. Her claws sliced fire into his face. Energy boiled in her other paw. But before she could kill him, he slashed his sword into her heart. She staggered.
I could have loved you. You son of a bitch. And then she died.
Actually, my mother was a
Renata
vixen.
stood there, hours, unable to move.
Papa was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, all he left her was alone.
I can't believe you actually killed her. Why didn't I trust her? Renato said. All he could feel was emptiness. You killed the Emperor's daughter. You might want to run for it, if you care whether you live or die, that is. Since Renato didn't. He grabbed the wheel.
Okay, yeah, I think this is...
For the Imperial fleet.
I think I remember this ending. I think. Not positive.
Well, we're about to find out.
Renato had never felt worse. Zenobia had listened to him. He had trusted him. She had opened her eyes to her father's evil. Done everything he had hoped for. He had taken her to a dirty shack. Was he so used to lying that he couldn't trust even the girl he had always loved?
Wah! That plank went flying.
Physics.
Your physics?
For a given definition of the term. Man, that car's really going.
Yeah. Wonder where they're heading off into in such a hurry.
Milford.
Maybe.
To, to find the milk. Yeah, like as soon as I mentioned that we were briefly exploring Milford, that was the first question somebody asked.
Yep.
See the rebels reeling back as he plunged into the ranks of the Ravens. He'd had to kill
That's far from the funniest name for a city in that particular part of the country.
the
Yeah.
Emperor's daughter against him. Oh, Renato could only laugh.
A friend of mine back in Virginia who was born, I want to say around Pittsburgh,
Expected the Ravens to take him
but she was born in Pennsylvania.
in fear.
She has a great fondness for many of the names of many of the cities there.
Oops a daisy.
Soon he'd confront the Emperor. Again. This time, he'd make an end of him. He'd screwed up last time, but he had a good feeling about this time. He was exhausted. Could barely think. He wanted to stop thinking. The rebels were already finished, and he was the last. The Ravens were coming for him personally now, in waves. It didn't matter. He was slick with his own blood, but it didn't matter. In the distance, he could see her, embraced by a halo of light, holding her hand out to him.
Had she forgiven him? Would she take
Maybe
him
I
to the
don't
halls
remember
of the
this
Valley?
ending.
Then he felt steel in his belly, and his chest, and his back. And he lay down.
That is a very poignant ending,
and he
though.
couldn't see her anymore.
Oh, again? And he already had all the secrets he needed. He was sure of that.
Hero who goes down fighting
He
when
must
there's
have not
nothing
used
left to
them the
live
right
for.
way. Ah, what was the best, worst mistake he could make?
Well, that was a little bit...
Trusting that
Sad.
traitor
Yep,
Lapino.
but with that we have...
2 more left.
Yep.
Wow. We're getting there. But we'll have to see what those 2 entail next time. But until then, we're the Landstar saying thank you very much for watching.
Burger ham dogs.